I have this picture problem again, right? Can't believe it. Is it better like no, it's not better like that. No, probably right. I hope so. So welcome to my most beautiful series. I love it so much to talk to you and discuss with us the topic about our true identity, right? So last week we talked about the fact that we are not our story, and today I want to discuss the three dimension monopoly illusion. 3D monopoly, like I call it. And I really remember myself very good back about 25 years ago when I actually was in my 5-year education as a medium, as a grounded medium, and learning and training back and forth, not only to connect with human being and their unique energy, but also with spirit world, meaning like not only dead people, but also spirit guides, also guardian angels, right? I mean, especially the dead people, um, it's always that someone who really belongs to you is in your spirit team. And we really don't have to be afraid about that or because of that. But I remember when I learned to connect with these energies and beings, I always ask myself, what about the soul? I must be honest, in the whole education, we did literally not talk about the soul. But I found myself in this 5 until almost 60 years of education, always, again and again, in this conscious questioning, what about our soul? And finally, I realized I actually can ask my spirit team, right? I must laugh now because at the time, I mean, I was so green, I was so naive, and I actually didn't know anything. I still don't know something, but now I feel more experienced. Probably I can imagine that. But at the time, I suddenly realized I just asked my spirit team. And because alongside this education, we really had the invitation from our teachers to connect every day with our spirits, right? It's the best training actually. So I started to contemplate and to connect with them only with that question. Please educate myself, educate me about the soul, how to perceive my soul, how to really be clear and really be safe and feeling safe as soon as I get informations. So I really wanted to be safe, and it should be proven that I get informations from my soul. So they taught me a lot of things, and we will speak about that too. But today I want to share with you what they taught me about the reason and the reason of this concept, soul and human beings, and also how it works with this Earth, planet Earth. So at that time, I literally didn't know anything. I didn't know something about that. It was the first time that I got these informations literally from these downloads. At the time, I often wrote things down. It's called inspirational writing, when you just download and write and you don't know actually what you write down. It's not going through your mind, it's just downloading. You also can speak, inspirational speak, and then you just speak and don't know what you speak because it's not going through this filter of your mind. And at the time I had this inspirational writing, and always after inspirational writing, I had to actually read what I just wrote because I didn't know it, right? It's good, a good sign actually. I also tell it to my students always, when you don't know what you speak or you just spoke or just wrote, it's not from your mind and it's not from your ego. It's just a download, right? We have only to verify to which source we are connected so that we can trust. So back to the thing I want to share with you. They taught me about the concept of this planet Earth and the three dimensions. And this was 25 years ago. At that time, it was not possible in public to speak about the things, and I was not able to find any book about these topics, right? So it was very interesting what I had the honor to learn, and it's following. Imagine that this planet Earth is something like a playground for the souls to choose a specific character, to choose to get alive as a specific protagonist. Let's take this noun from books, right? From novels, and to perceive this life as this character from the beginning, from the birth until the death. Going with the concept that the soul is immortal and it's living in the universe or in the different universes in between. I know it's not only one, and that the planet Earth is one possibility to learn about the experiences, the perceiving, the senses, the body, the embodiment, to feel and to sense the things through our body experiences. So as soon as I realized, oh, it's a playground, I told them, oh, it's like a Monopoly. Probably you know this game, this board game Monopoly, right? We can earn money, we can buy houses and sell houses and buy hotels and all the stuff, right? We can do bad things and must go to jail and must wait until we can jump back again to the game. I must admit, as a child, I really loved the board game Monopoly so much. Still today, I really love it. So you also learn to deal with money and having money in your hands and all the stuff. So when I realized, oh, what? The concept with the soul is about experiencing a human life, a human story, a human life, like in a monopoly. It's actually like a 3D monopoly, 3 dimension. I mean, everyone who studied mathematics and geometry, do you call it like that in German, geometry? So you know 1D, 1 dimension, 2 dimension, it's flat. 3 dimension, it's like with the buildings and yes, the things you can touch. It's not flat, right? It's not just a picture from above. It's with room, with depth. And this is 3D. And I can tell you, as soon as I got that concept, I also understood the concept with the silver cord, which I actually got taught in my education from body, mind, and soul, and that the soul is immortal, and that the mind, aka ghost, can live longer than the body. And when we as a medium make a contact, create a contact to a dead person, we actually speak to the combination of the mind and body, mind and soul, because the body is already dead, right? But because the energy part of the mind, aka ghost, is visible with the aura, how to tell it in English, the aura perception, it's possible for a medium with a clear seeing to literally see the dead person. There are two possibilities to see it. One is actively in front of us or passively in our inner eyes. This is like you would remember on something, this is happening in your inner eyes, right? And I had in my education, I could not perceive it with my eyes in the first hand. I had a stronger potential with sensing and feeling, with the clear senses and clear feelings. And I later on could train the seeing passively and actively through the training. So I knew it from these experiences from the education that I can see a mind, aka ghost, right? And a lot of people, when they are not educated and not aware about their psychic and mediumistically skills, they actually perceive sometimes dead people, and then they are afraid of that. Why? Because they don't know it. People are always afraid about the things we don't know, right? And I experienced that later on to attract people. They booked me as a coach because they had bad dreams or couldn't even sleep anymore. And when we went deeper, they admitted that they actually can perceive dead people, or in specific variations, often one specific person. And then they were afraid about themselves or their these experiences, and this is totally logical because they didn't know it and they didn't learn how to deal with that. So knowing all this, I realized this concept of the 3D monopoly Earth makes much more sense. And I realized the more I thought about that and the more I contemplated about this concept, the more relieved I was. It was literally like if there would be any worries or any fears about dying, I lost it with these inner conversations about the 3D monopoly Earth. Because I realized we actually are immortal and we just choose to play here. So, because we choose a specific game or a specific human experience, it's what we once chose, and this feels very safe, right? It feels like because I once chose this, I wanted everything. I wanted the good. I wanted the bad. I wanted to feel it with my feelings. I wanted to feel how it is when someone is betraying me emotionally and how it is to forgive this person. I wanted to experience how it is when I hurt myself on my body and all the variations, how the body can be hurted with an accident, with being sick, and all the variations, how the body can heal again. And knowing that and literally let it sink in my awareness, in my consciousness that this is possible, relieved me so much. It gave me so much energy back. I realized I lost all the fear. I lost all these subconscious thoughts about doing things wrong, about dying too young, too old, in the not wrong moment, because it's not in our hands as a human, but realizing it's in our hands as a soul, and we once choose that, it's actually perfect, however it will be. To let that go is mind blowing. Do you know what I mean? So I also asked then, and I put bet you also asked that, listening to me. I asked my spirit team, but if this is the 3D monopoly, what is the fourth, the fourth dimension, and what is the fifth dimension? And you must again remember, it was 25 years ago. And I must admit, at the time, did not really understand the fifth dimension explanation yet. But I got the fourth dimension. And they told me, fourth dimension is all the perception, which is about invisible energies. Speaking of every energy thing, whatever is possible to perceive with our clear senses, sensitively or mediumistically. Sensitively means from human to other humans or living beings like animals or plants or even things. We also can perceive things, energy of things, or hold that a few minutes or a few hours or a few years ago. We can do that. This is sensitively perception, and mediumistically perception is all about the spirit world, right? Okay, I got that. The fourth dimension made sense. It made sense. I did not realize the sense of the fifth dimension. I even forgot it. I know that they explained it to me at the time, but I forgot what they explained. But you must imagine, I trained myself to reconnect every day, regularly. Actually, at that time, every week. But later on, I trained to reconnect on autopilot every day. And this caused the most beautiful automation, actually, because I got small adjustments, aka updates of what I am able to perceive and to know at that specific day. And I adjusted and adjusted every day, every time when I reconnected to my spirit team and got the next step of my education about this topic. The latest and oldest memory about the fifth dimension is going back to 2015, 2016. I don't remember exactly. It's about 10 years ago when I really realized something about the fifth dimension, and this landed. And it was the information that the fifth dimension is all about the expanded awareness. It's not the same as being aware. I mean, in that moment when we just are, right? It's not possible to know what we know consciously, to know everything at the same moment. It's not possible, right? So being aware in a moment is ideally to just be and not to connect to a thought or to a judgment or to aha or going with a question or something like that, but only to be. So this information about the fifth dimension was more about expanding our capacity to the knowing, the conscious knowing. We know that in between from science since years that humans are perceiving, let's say, when we perceive 100%, we can actually only perceive consciously about 3 to 8% of this 100, and the rest we perceive subconsciously. But it's there, and we store that in our body and our subconsciousness. But the fifth dimension is a reality which helps us to expand the conscious part, meaning this 3 to 5%, to train ourselves to go with 8%, 10%, 12%, and not to get crazy with that. I remember when I started my coaching career 22 years ago, I sometimes also had the honor to work with children. And children, probably you know that, until they're 6 years, and until they are 6 years old, they have a much bigger awareness about the things. They also perceive without the filter the fourth dimension, meaning spirit world, all the sources, God, the souls. It's unfiltered. It gets the filter because of the environment of the children, the education, the behavior of the environment, and what they get taught about that. So this was so interesting to work with these children, and I must admit I learned so much. I think I learned more from them than they learned from me. But what I wanted to tell is that I realized, okay, this expanded awareness to be able to be conscious about more than a few years ago in a moment. This is really something which we want. We want train that, because if we don't train it, we get this feeling of being overwhelmed. And I often had these children, they were literally overwhelmed. Their parents told me that the child is going crazy because life is too much. But actually, they just perceived so much more than the parents. And they did not learn how to set boundaries, how to put on and off the radio sequences. And the worst part on that was the fact that a lot of children actually perceive spirit world and they cannot talk with us adults about that because our filters are already too strong and we never got an education about that, and we never got the yes and the acceptation about this truth, about these other dimensions. But they are here. If we want to know that or not, if we accept it or not, and if we perceive it or not, it's just here. It's here like air. Air is invisible. And if we believe it or not, if we use it or not, if we, right? It's here. It's the same with everything in the energy part, everything in the invisible part. So this is the free dimension monopoly, and it's also the reason, let's say, in the meantime, the last year, specifically after our global big event, right? You remember we had to be alone at home, and human beings got the invitation to be more conscious, to be more aware, to sit with ourselves and to get to know ourselves better. And it's obvious since that time, it's globally that the awareness increased and also the consciousness about that. So since then, at least since then, especially spiritual people talk a lot more about the fifth dimension. And in the beginning, I was so confused because a lot of my colleagues, they taught us literally something like the 5D is something like getting enlightened and not needing anymore the 3D, which went along the fact that it's everything material and also the money, and we don't want that. But it's not about enlightening on this planet Earth, on this game board Earth, because we are already enlightened. It's about the human experience. And that's why it will be always about the 3D game here on this monopoly, right? It will always be about the 3D game. 3D is the material. It's touching things, creating things. It's about money too. It's about prosperity too. It's about everything what we human beings are able to create. I mean, we created things like that. It's amazing, right? We also created things like that. I don't know what I can show you. And things like that, right? We are so intelligent. We feel inspired, and everyone has an own purpose. Not everyone wants to invite this great things. I mean, I love this table cushion. I love it. Not everyone feels inspired to invent something like that. Luckily. But everyone feels inspired and called to something unique. And this is what I call the soul calling. It's what you probably call your true purpose. And that's why I loved it back at the time when I asked Spirit World, and what about the soul? I got literally the teaching how to perceive soul's energy. And as soon as I trained that consciously, I realized I unfolded, looking back to my past as a teenager, as a child, that I always had this talent to perceive the soul's voice of others. I always had that, but it was not conscious. I wasn't aware about that. It happened in this other 92%. but it obviously was meant for me and is meant for me to perceive that. That's why, in the meantime, I work with my clients since 2 decades, because I just perceive their soul calling and for what they are meant for and where their true fire is, and all the other specific beautiful tasks which are packed within, right? And that's why I also founded the Soul Calling Portal last year. It's my beautiful community for everyone, especially entrepreneurs like you, which are looking back to most beautiful and most intensive and hardworking years, but find ourselves on a point where we literally ask ourselves, why am I here? What is my true purpose? Especially if you build your business from your mind or from what your parents expected from you. The experience showed that I attract those who are meant to do business with that too. And I developed a system to show you how you, on your own, can connect with your soul's energy, soul's voice on your own, so that you are not connected to me, or you don't need me for that. But you can always book my special VIPs if it's available, or some other group experiences. But in the Soul Calling Portal, you get a beautiful course where I teach you how to connect with your soul on your own and to ask the right questions so that you can perceive your calling and what is meant for you as a next step. And often my clients also want to know what is meant with the success and the company, and sometimes they have more than one companies which they build already, because it's not what the most think. They think it was a bad choice, or it's not like there anymore. It's all everything is not true. It's everything actually so aligned. It's a perfect story, and you will see that as soon as you ask for more of your truth. If you want to do that, don't hesitate. Join my Soul Calling Portal. You find the link in the under the video, and please don't forget to follow my channel and to experience and discuss more of these topics with me. And please like and share the video if you think it's a value also for your tribe and your network. Thank you so much.